TSM/?mark. I'll probably be referring to them more as XTSM because that name flows a lot better. They'll be taking on e-frag. What a rather interesting day yesterday. Losing 0-2 to e-frag, or losing 0-2 to Titan, and then coming back in their next match versus Navi, and actually managing to take that one 2-0. The third map specifically in very dominating fashion. So this combined with some of the weaknesses that we've been seeing recently from XTSM, it begs the question as to whether we can actually see an e-frag victory today, which I think is actually rather likely considering those factors. Again, XTSM, they've been running into a lot of problems overall with just some of their biggest fraggers. Device has not been on as on top of his game as he has been in some of the recent months. And then for e-frag too, we've been seeing some really good things out of this squad coming out in some of these weeks. So I think there's some really good things about e-frag that might potentially allow them to take a victory over the guys over here on XTSM today. But we're going to see how things start off, of course. This is going to be the first map. This is the choice from XTSM. It is going to be over here on Overpass. If they win the knife round, they are going to get their side choice to start off, and it is going to be over on the CT side. We'll go live immediately, folks, so let's get right to it here in the pistol round. And starting things off, a lot of e-frag members moving themselves over here towards the short park area here as they cross through the fountain. Victor will lead the charge there. You can obviously see Device moving up, and he gets some of the intel as to these players pushing out. I don't believe he spotted the bomb or anything just as again. Even if he did, wouldn't really be able to react to any of the intel he's getting. Bit of an aggressive push coming out from XTSM members, both Zipnix along with Cajun B back out over towards Monster. And Zipnix unfortunately getting hit pretty heavily by that, already down at 30 HP on his remark, so he's going to have to be very, very careful with himself for the rest of this round now. And they're only going to keep Dreamer there from e-frag though, if that little bit of a battle happens. The rest of these guys, mainly on the short A push, but it looks like they are going to be moving some players down into Connector. That unfortunately gets spotted by a stack on the B site, so again, some good investigation coming out here from the members of XTSM. And unfortunately, the overall engagement probably not going to be that sleuthy because of all the info that the members of XTSM are finding out and are appropriately rotating to counter this one out. But with 37 seconds left on the clock, they're going to start the fake take back down over here at the B site. Keep in mind that this flank that's coming on the actual takedown onto A there, and the members of XTSM are actually holding off pretty strong. Dupree, though, making the mistake. He actually goes down Connector to support that B site hold by trying to flank down, but that's not even where the play is happening. It's gone up to the A set where you only have Kerrigan to hold this off right now. The plant's already happened. Bubble is going to throw Kerrigan off a little bit. He's going to be down at 74 HP, and as he rolls out, there's going to be Victor decking these players to the ground. He picks up 2. Bubble found 2 for himself as well. Now it's just down on Dupree at this point. He's working a 1 versus 5. Nothing he's going to be able to do in this matchup now. Gotta run away, and unfortunately even that's not going to be possible. Dreamer is going to shut him down, and e-frag are going to pick up the pistol round. Back over here on Overpass for the first map of the day. That's a great pickup there. We can immediately see 4 rifle upgrades coming into play for these players. And as for Bubble, he's going to go for the Mac 10 and try and stack up a little bit of extra cash. He's usually the player that picks up the op here for e-frag, but interestingly enough, when we were watching e-frag yesterday, they did try to shy away from the op quite a bit, so it would not be super out of the way if we didn't really see the T side try to pick that up, even though it can definitely work pretty capably over here on the T side on a map like this. But for members of XTSM, pretty light investment here on the second round, mainly just upgrading to P250s and Deagles. Dupree, the only player that buys up armor behind his setup here, but nothing really else being brought into the picture, so e-frag, again, in a lot of their duels, they're going to have a pretty easy time taking it down unless we can see some clutch Deagle shots coming out. We'll check that in a second, and that's exactly what we see first. Dupree finishing off the first shot there, shuts out Victor, eliminating him. And already one member of e-frag goes down early in the round as he picks that one up. For the rest of the members of XTSM too, trying to line themselves up to work their way out aggressively, as we can see both Zipnix along with KGB trying to watch out for the B site by holding control of water. Again, though, the problem becomes the take itself is happening way far over here towards short A. They've got a stack to try and catch this early, and that's going to be Dupree up there, looking for the bathroom push. He spots one player, but then immediately has to destack it for safety reasons. But now again, the rest of e-frag slowly starting to creep in, and they're just taking this very slowly on the approach, just in case there is anybody on the off angle. But, oh, Dupree almost having another headshot angle lined up, but is going to miss his opportunity to do so. Dreamer finds a nice headshot to take him down there. Device looking for another shot, but unfortunately he gets aim punched, so he's got to fall back a little bit here. Now the members of e-frag have found their way into the site, and they're just executing members of XTSM left and right here, shutting them down, already leaving it down. There's one more left alive, and that's going to be Zipnix. He's got some smoke coverage to work with here, but now working his way back in. Not really a whole lot that he can see from this current angle. And the members of e-frag take up their own positions back over here in the bathroom, which he, again, won't really be able to do really anything at all to violate this. Might be able to catch Bubble off guard a little bit, but now they found him, and he misses the first opening shots. There's Dreamer again with another nice little headshot tap there in order to take out the final member from XTSM. That shuts them out. And again, we see e-frag coming up 2-0 here on the scoreline. And of course, Bubble, interestingly enough, goes just for the, picks up the deagle this time around. And is going to get dropped the rifle from a teammate, it would seem. Actually, no, just dropping that over. And then, of course, now not actually re-picking up the MAC-10, which he had to scavenge from the previous, or which he had to scuttle from the last round there to give Victor back his rifle. He's just going to go with a deagle this time. And this generally makes a lot of sense. We're going to talk more about that later, because there actually is going to be some action starting off here earlier on in the round as 3 players from XTSM take up a close position outside of Monster, and e-frag make the mistake of playing things aggressively in this round, which unfortunately, obviously, they pay the obvious cost for that one. NKL gonna find the trade kill for it though, and now they take things a lot slower. Without any flying to angle or anything in a head-to-head battle here, it's gonna be a tough one for members of XTSM to close out, but there's Cajun B catching one, sitting behind the safe plant positioning there, takes down Spy Leader, now pays a heavy cost for it though on the repeat. He's now down at 4 HP. The rest of the members of XTSM, they're trying to push into it, and e-frag, they're gonna want to take this battle. Kerrigan finding another kill for the CT side. Only 2 left alive here from e-frag, and they're both extremely low. 7 HP on both of them, both NKL and Dreamer, and they finally make the decision to now fall away and try to work this from a different angle. As XTSM, they've done the damage they need to do, working themselves out of here, and pressing themselves around this now. e-frag going to try to maybe work a long A approach, but the members of XTSM are well aware of this one. Cajun Breeze pressed himself away from this one. Kerrigan now has a rifle in his own hands here too, as is Dupree. Both of them are at higher health pools too. Even without armor, it's still going to be very, very tough for the members of e-frag to try and actually win out this round now because of that one, as they've already been found out that it's already the members of XTSM are already well aware of the strategical choice that they've made here, and Cajun B is going to be watching out for that. He might get picked off, but now they know where they are, and they can easily rotate in, and in fact, Dupree is going to pick them off one by one, finishes off the round, and we see the eco upset coming in there for XTSM as they're going to be able to pick that up. e-frag will actually immediately go for a pause here, as it looks like NKL... Well, that's a very early one. NKL is going to have quote-unquote connection problems. So hopefully we can get him back into the game very quickly, and we'll be able to start things off from there. But e-frag, despite dropping that round, again, this shouldn't throw things off the normal path to take us on to the first gun round here on round number 4. It's just going to leave e-frag with a lot less money. That first anti-eco round should have left them with enough cash in order to go for their own rebuys here. Maybe looking at the only player that might not be able to buy would be NKL, but again, I think Victor was actually the player. I'm trying to remember who exactly went down in the second round because they only lost 1. If I remember correctly, it was Victor. If it was NKL, we could be looking at a lower amount, but with both Bubble and Dreamer having around 63 and 6100, there's a pretty big chance that one of them could drop a rifle, so it still wouldn't really throw anything off to some degree there. The big problem for e-frag is just going to be, again, the way that they go about their execution. What we saw in that last round, when they played against their opponents yesterday, and just overall from some of the matches that we've seen from e-frag in the past, is one of the biggest issues with this team, in that, again, they try for very dry executions a lot of the time. Despite the fact that they may have utility to use, they like to try and save them for the post-plant scenario. So on the actual entry itself, they'll just try to rely on purely the aiming power and whatnot to find their way into the site. And oftentimes on a map like Overpass, where you have to go around angles and whatnot to try and find your way into the site, that just does not really work out that well. And unfortunately, the members of TSM, XTSM this is, assuming they have the correct setups to try and get into the way of these players, then they're going to be able to shut them down pretty quickly if proper smokes and whatnot aren't used. It's a great example of exactly what happened in the last round. If they'd used a smoker or flash to get them out, that round could have gone the complete other direction, and we could be looking at a 3-0 right now, but that's not the case. They just try to sit back and go into this long-range battle with the members of XTSM, and that just gives them more time to set up and eventually just gut them all down one by one to take these guys out of the play. So that knocks them out, and again, now throws the scoreline off here and allows the members of XTSM to pick up a round where they really had no business doing it, looking at the buys that they had bringing into that one. The next map, by the way, just to talk a little bit more about this too, is unfortunately 3 rounds in, not a whole lot that we can discuss right now. But the next map is going to be over on Cache. If we end up going over to play on, a 3rd map as well, it's going to be on Train today. So that will be interesting to see how that one plays out. But the big challenge for e-frag is going to be on that Cache map, because playing against Titan on it, they had a lot of problems again on that T side. The CT side was great. One of the good things about e-frag overall is just the momentum they can get and the movement efficiency that they get on their CT side, setting up flanks and whatnot all the time and really punishing T sides that aren't watching out for these sorts of things. We were able to see the members of e-frag constantly dominate on the CT side because of that one. Their T side is definitely one which I would call weaker on the half side sort of it, so when they switch over to the CT side, we can hope for a stronger one, but here on the T side, it's basically going to be about stacking up as many rounds as possible against the guys on XTSM, and then we'll have to see where they go from there. But this is not also our only match that we do have for you guys today. We have another one coming up a little bit later, as this does sort of lead into the qualification. I'm not 100% certain on the format, but I think the way that we're going to have things working out, as you can see now on the screen, e-frag playing XTSM today. The winner of that should go on to play off the winner versus our next match, which is going to be between EnVyUs and Dignitas. This is the last chance qualifier, so we should have one more match coming up at some point in the next few days between the winners of both of these games, and then the winner of that, I think, is going to get the final LAN spot here at the LAN finals in Minsk. So, it looks like the members of e-frag are still working on that internet problem with their final player. So we're going to turn up the music here really quickly, and as soon as he has fixed that problem, or assuming they have brought in a fill-in, we will resume the match, guys. So stick around, we'll be right back as soon as we have NKL or someone else for e-frag back into the game.
keeps me up
Alright guys, he's back now, so hopefully we should be able to jump right back into this game. NKL will be rejoining, no fill-ins just as of yet from the side of e-frag. So we do have him back, and again, we are going to transition as we expected into the first gun round here on round number 4. e-frag are going to be a little bit lighter, of course, because of that round loss they had to suffer, but it's sort of equalized when you take a look at the buys coming out from TSM as well. Have the Galil along with an AK sitting onto these guys. The rest are on M4s and or the op for device. And as for e-frag, we've got AKs and 2 Galils in the mix, so still fairly even. The only exception is going to be that op that is missing from the T side, and device already going to be able to start things off strong here. Looking for that second pickup over by the rock, but not going to be able to find it. So for the time being, he falls away from that area and is going to abandon things to push himself closer to the site, and holding it in case the members of e-frag decide to push up against him here. Taking a look at the rest of the defenses now, it's fairly evenly split. Like we said, no real big amounts of aggression coming out just as of yet from TSM. e-frag, because they've lost a member, are obviously going to be holding back a little bit more to watch out for anything else. They might be tossed their way, but they're not going to be finding it just as of yet. We're probably going to see a little bit of a battle happening just inside of the bathrooms here in a moment, as you've got both Kerrigan and Dupree sitting here to watch this one. Bubble looking for a way out of this one here too as he presses forward, and he's going to lead the charge, but Kerrigan has pressed up a little bit here too, so he could potentially find something if he's not spotted initially, if someone rounds the corner. And there we go, going to come back out, is able to pick up Dreamer. We see Dupree picking up another kill into NKL too, getting into another battle. We see Bubble winning versus Kerrigan this time around, but Device still holding strong, finishing off the round with a nice op shot there. It gives the first gun round over to the guys on TSM, picking it up and evening out the score at 2-2. And obviously, because of the fact that e-frag did need to invest a little bit more in that previous round, with them recently losing it, they are going to have to transition very quickly here onto a save, which you've already seen come into the picture here. One Tech 9, apologies, and three P250s here for the entire team. Nothing else sitting behind that, so a very lightly invested round from e-frag. Probably going to be a quick play coming out, and this could catch Dupree off guard, as they are just rushing into him right now, but actually they don't expect him to be there at all, and he just rips every single player from the side of e-frag apart, finishing off the 5th as well. That's going to be the casual ace coming out from Dupree, finishing off that entire offensive completely on his own. And e-frag, well, I didn't lie, it was a quick offensive to try and push into short A, but it was also stopped very quickly by Dupree, and that's going to be an easy 5 kills for him, as that gives a 3rd round now to the guys over here on TSM. So now we'll take a look, of course, into the next round here with e-frag going for their next investment here. Still no op to be seen as of yet, as the money does not necessarily favor this sort of buy, nor does their current positioning in the game. Bubble may not be feeling up to the confidence scale that it requires as of yet to work something like that, but this time at least, as they try to push themselves up towards long A a little bit and transition this into short A through the bathroom connector too, they're not really going to find as much resistance as they did in the previous round. The bomb, however, this time is actually positioned down below, sitting right now underneath the track, so we can see Zipnix is trying to push into that just a little bit, or at the very least is trying to hold towards water to stop anybody from coming down through connector. He's going to be the one watching out for that. And again, not going to be able to spot anything initially because of the smokes that are tossed back out, despite the fact that both NKL and Dreamer are sitting on the other side of that. And these other 3 right now from e-frag are trying to sell the fake back up towards A. And we can see again, Kerrigan doing a good job holding up the long A push for the time being as he takes down Spy Leader. And there's going to be the double coming out from Device. Victor and Bubble, they line right up. The fake's dead. Now they've got to try to work their way in from Monster, but Zipnix, he's going to know this is coming already. They worked their way back in. They did rotate quite a few players off, but again, they've got plenty of time to get the rest of the CTs back down to support this a little more. e-frag are making no progress at all. NKL just trying to tap away at this in order to get some shots out, and it's going to succeed at the very least to give them the bomb plan. Now Dreamer, however, stuck behind this smoke. The rest of the CTs over here now trying to find a route to get back in and shut down Dreamer, but they are struggling to find him. He's hugging the pole right now. He's pushing up as a single unit, though. Fails to pick up a kill into Kerrigan, and he's going to shut him down. And again, the members of TSM close things out here on this round. Get another round away. It's a big plays coming out there from Device there. Gets the double kill, and then Kerrigan finishing off the rest down below with Cajun B. Though he picks up 1, does lose the corresponding trade later onto the site, but he holds it off long enough to bring things into a 4-on-1, which obviously is very easily manageable by the members over here from TSM. So e-frag again, going by the usual part of the course here, not going to be, at least I don't believe, not going to be on the full losing bonus just as of yet, so they cannot immediately transition into another gun round off of that one, off of the planted loss there that we saw coming out from those guys. They do have to go for a Tech 9 armor round, but this is not going to impact them too negatively at all when we get to that next buy fortune for them. Victor trying to find his way through the tunnel, but not going to work out at all. In fact, Xyp9x, after he picks up one, continues spraying and finds his second kill for himself too. There's Spyler, though, finding a little bit of revenge sitting inside of the connector there. He's going to be able to pick up a frag. They try to press back out, but Xyp9x, just using the USP there, picks up a kill. Bubble sneaks out and finds at least one more frag for his team, but that's going to be it. KGB quickly finding the trade out for that one. And again, it's another shutdown from the guys on XTSM. E-frag trying to make these quick plays, or at the very least trying to find themselves in good positions quickly. But because of how aggressive the members of XTSM find themselves being here, just shutting down these offensive time after time again, and it's leading to a very quick lead being maintained here by the guys over on the CT side. And for E-frag, a whole lot of problems just getting even their setups to work properly here. This is going to be a big problem for them now, is they're trying to work these sorts of plays, but they're never really even given the chance to do so because of the fact that, again, they try to find themselves in certain areas of the map, and every single time, at least in the past 2 to 3 rounds, we've been seeing that tripped up by the guys over here on XTSM, whether it's been via the op coming out there from Device, could have been the play that just shuts down the fake, again, mainly due to Device finding a double kill there, some assistance coming in from either KGB or Kerrigan there too, or, you know, like we saw last round, where they just get super aggressive inside of construction or water, whatever you like to call it, and then just shuts down the actual attempt at even getting into the site to begin with there, with a couple of trades happening either way. So this round, as we take a look at where exactly E-frag are going to be playing it towards, it shifts its focus now down towards the short A angle once again, and it's going to be all 5 players for now working their way in towards it. Taking down Kerrigan, who's going to be Spyler here to start off this round. The smokes correspondingly are going to come out very quickly to try to cover their butts, and we can see the rotations coming out from TSM now too to move everybody off of B. But at least for Xyp9x, he doesn't feel that it's going to be fully committed to this site just as of yet, and they may be correct about that if they meet too much trouble back over here on the A approach. It seems Spyler at the least is committed to it though, and in fact, he's going to move himself forward to get the plan. Was not enough time left on the clock to go for a rotate, so unfortunately Spyler is going to have to open himself up to Dupree now. He will eventually fall. Dupree with a bit of a mistake there, losing about 13 of his HP, so not the biggest deal in the world, but the problem is now going to be looking for this retake when E-frag have the alley pretty well controlled here too. XTSM going to push in there, trying to prevent that defuse, but they got to be careful in the timings of their peaks because everybody from XTSM is sitting outside of this right now. Dupree on the defuse right now, trying to grab it, but they just line up for him, and that's 3 kills going by the way of E-frag. The final one, Device, trying to make a run with the op. He gets himself behind the semi, and now dropping into the lower tunnel, is going to make a run for this one. Should be able to get away successfully, but that is going to be, again, another round. Bounce back into the power of the T's. And Device just barely making his way out of there. Survives that encounter with 20 HP left. Victor is actually going to lose his other teammate there, and that's going to be the only thing they carry into the next round. Same story for the guys on XTSM, though, so they won't be looking so pretty either. Thankfully, still plenty of money left, so they can easily go for the rebuy, but it's the same story now for E-frag. We'll go immediately into yet another gun round here. Now that E-frag finally has something working, will we see the same strategy employed again? Or are they just going to try to switch it up? And they're going to go back actually now towards... It's going to be a bit of a default B setup here now as they work a couple players now over here towards water. A few more working their way over towards Monster to get ready for the actual push, but they want to make sure they have connector control first, so they aren't flanked out. They've got to be careful of a construction aggression too, as that tripped them up just a few rounds ago. But Kerrigan actually going to be taking down one of the players through that plywood panel there. That's it. That's sitting just in the site too, so that's a great pickup from him very early on in the round, taking him down through this one. Cage and B shutting out another one of these players too. Bubble trying to look for some responses, sitting back down over here inside of the canals. He's going to be able to find 2. So that evens things back out, but with Kerrigan finding shots like he did through the plywood over there, it's going to cause definitely a little bit of fear from the side of E-frag, as they did not get a whole lot of intel when they set this one up. The smoke, I think that was meant to bounce up inside of heaven, but it misses. So as we see Spyleader just barely peeking out, that's going to be a very quick shot coming out from Device to take down one of these guys. And from here we can see Dupree attempts to find that flank over onto Bubble. It does give away his location, but oh my goodness, Bubble. That was a great play from him. Takes out the player that's trying to flank him, and then actually peeks at just the perfect time, because as soon as he peeks out there too, we saw Device jumping down with the rifle, and he just catches him on the way down, gets the midair kill, and shuts out the round for E-frag once again. So that's a huge clutch from Bubble. And now again brings E-frag on the cusp of tying this game up once again at 5 points. 5 rounds, apologies. But the money from the guys on the CT side over here for XTSM was built up to a really, really strong point before we started seeing those E-frag rounds starting to be picked up as well. So we are still going to see yet another buy round coming out here from the CTs. This may end up being the last one. as that money's getting a little bit lower, but they need to start finding something that works for them here too, as they are allowing e-frag to stay very, very close, and on a map that can be as CT-sided as this one, you don't really want to allow your opponents to stick this close to you on the round scoreline, as that could be very, very bad come the second half if your T-sided performance is not going to be as up to par, and especially if you're not going to be able to use big components of your CT side as often, such as, again, Device working with the op. He may not be able to find as much success with that on the T side. A lot of other factors coming into play as well. So the members of XTSM want to try and gain as much of a lead and really prevent as many rounds from being picked up on the side of e-frag as possible, due to their T side having the issues it does and their CT side having the advantages it does. But this round is going to start off very well for the guys over here on e-frag. Victor and NKL picking up the first 2 kills. Victor getting the intel as to a third player's location and going to try to smoke that off, but Kerrigan picking up 2 for himself here too, just outside of the pit. Device is going to find one. Dreamer takes down Kerrigan with a nade, but that nade might actually get the responsive run to NKL, just missing the mark to kill him. So he's only going to be brought down to 33 HP. Dupree getting himself into a battle, which Spy Leader is going to win. And now it's that 2 versus 1. Device looking to clutch it out. The odds are definitely not going to be playing towards him, though, as he still has to figure out exactly where NKL is playing from. Might just try for the ninja defuse on the smoke there, but construction will really throw him back off, and he's trying to bait them out. Actually, this is perfect, because now he's going to get a flick shot on one of them. Going in, going to try to stick it. The flash on NKL. It should connect, and he's trying to get in that spray. 46 HP, but he's going to accomplish the ninja defuse there from XTSM. Device clutching it out, and that's going to be the round going the CT's direction. Huge play from him. And now e-frag again will fall back behind here, forced to buy to try and keep themselves competitive in this match right now, but XTSM, they've scavenged the game once again and are going to try to reestablish this lead back up to where they've had it going before. And that's going to be a very unfortunate loss from e-frag, just because of the fact of how much control they had over that situation there, but extremely smartly played by Device in that situation, because of the smoke bait that he works for there. Throws it over thinking, oh, I'm just gonna go for the ninja, quote unquote. But then that pulls Spy Leader outside of his hiding place over towards construction. He's able to find a very easy kill there because he's creeping in thinking that he's gonna have no trouble at all just killing this player that's ninjing. So then he does that, and then he actually goes to the ninja on the second time, and for that last player, NKL, he doesn't know what to think, because his teammate was just tricked up. And again, he might not have had the intel as of yet as to what was actually going on the body itself. So from e-frag this time, again, setting up for the connector and monster push. And Bubble watching out for any players that do try to get a little bit over peaky back over here towards monster. Cajun B gonna peek out against this, lining up 1, lining up 2, looking for the 3rd with the USP. Bubble finally getting a chance to respond to that one as he takes down Cajun. Now, however, giving them all this intel, and they know the bomb's sitting on the ground. Bubble, is he going to fall back, or are they going to go for this? They're definitely moving into the site right now. e-frag trying to push in, but that's being shut down as well. Kerrigan picking up an additional frag over on his Spy Leader, and Dupree finding another one too. The last player, Dreamer, stuck behind that molly. He can't do anything. He's a dead man. No way he can find his way into this site to work this 1 versus 4. He's going to have to look for eco frags at best here to try and put the money down, but with 8 seconds left, he just has to die. That's the most important thing, and thankfully he does before the timer expires, so he is going to get the losing bonus for the round. And for the rest of the members of e-frag, even with that losing bonus, still not going to have any cash in the bank to really go for any sufficient buy in this round. So, we're looking at the members of XTSM needing to reestablish themselves and really needing to try and crawl that scoreline a little bit higher up in their favor. And they've done exactly that. Now they're back up to a +3 advantage here. And probably looking again at another one, unless we see an absolutely horrible upset from e-frag on this round, because look at what they're bringing into it. So, it's going to be a fairly fast play. 3 players working their way out towards monster. It is smoked for the CTs right now, but it doesn't really matter for e-frag. I think they're going to be moving into the second anyways. They try to push out. Some distraction coming back in over there towards construction, but Kerrigan, despite being at 1 HP, just sticks out for this battle anyway. And it's going to be Cajun B mainly that just shuts things down at the end of the round, picking up those 3 kills left and right. Now we'll give the 8th round over here to XTSM. And again, a round like that is really going to help to build things up on the side of that economy for the CTs, whereas e-frag, again, are still just working from the basics here. They haven't now won a round in about 3 in a row, so with how quickly it's been executed here from XTSM, it's going to give them a lot of extra cash in the bank. It's going to give them a lot of extra rounds, which they can buy up here. And this was the problem for e-frag too. Even when they had their little bit of a spree, picking up a couple rounds here and there, was they were never really given a chance to build up an economy because we were constantly seeing buys from XTSM. But they don't even count it this time. Good reaction from Spy Leader though, able to take down Kerrigan as he pushes out towards Fountain. But now Dupree hanging out in the party. He's going to pick up 1 frag. They try to respond to it here, but tries to go for that pop flash. That doesn't work at all. After he goes for the peek onto that one, Bubble's going to shut him down. He does get get some good damage over onto Victor to bring him down to 12 HP, but it's a 2-for-1 trade at the end of the day, and that still heavily favors the T's right now, as that's going to be less and less vision the members of XTSM have going on for the rest of this map. cajunb watching the long A push, Device watching for a short A push in case these members back over here towards Fountain decide to push their way in towards the A site. And Zipnik's the only player watching B right now, is going to be very, very limited as well if the play should shift down there, if they were to fall back towards T-spawn and then wrap it all the way around. But obviously with what Device can hear, this is not going to be the play at all. He can tell this, or what cajunb technically can hear there. They're going to know that things are being played off a little bit over here towards the bathrooms, and they do have a player tossing a couple nades down towards B too, but I think Zipnik's is counting on this one to be the fakes with those decoys on it. He's now figuring out that this is going to be a decoy play, and the plant coming out obviously onto the site now. These guys taking a good amount of control, but cajunb able to shut down the bomb plunger, and that will even out the players once again here as they try to hold it back, but they've got a smoke there. They've got to wait a lot of time for that to get rid of itself, as they're not really going to be able to conquest out and try to find these final couple of members on E-frag until that is gone, with the rest still sitting safely inside of bathrooms. Now they push out, but Bubble's got a good lineup, shutting down one, switching it out here too, as we are going to see it be re-challenged almost immediately by cajunb. The angle is so good to hold, and he's just going to try to jump on the bomb, and KL peeks out, but he's shut down. Now the full 5-second defuse, and Victor, he's just going to peek out, takes down the final player from XTSM, and cajunb, for what he had, that's not too badly played, but that final player there, Victor, just would not peek outside of the bathrooms, and that's very well played from him, as that not only, again, allows him to pick up that final frag, but really saves enough time to, even if he did end up losing that duel, with him peeking out, still, there would not have been enough time left for cajunb to be able to defuse that bomb. Would have lost the round anyway, so that's very passively played by E-frag, and that was exactly what they needed to do to close that out, with all circumstances considered there. They didn't really know where the rest of the CTs were placed. They had the man advantage working for themselves, but that could very quickly turn itself around. Now Device, again going to get aggressive up on Party, and picking up the initial kill in the bubble, this time trading it back from what we had in the previous round, as the CTs will now start things off 1-0 in their favor, but Victor coming in to try to turn that around, and that is going to fail as well, as Kerrigan takes out Victor inside of the bathroom connector, looking for a peek outside here to take another one, but that's going to be another bit of an error too, as that pop flash doesn't connect where he wants it to, and Spy Leader in a very secure position is able to pick up that frag once again to try and bring this a little bit closer in the favor of the members of E-frag. But they actually move the bomb back down over here towards B right now, and they'll be making a play to take control of this one. Cajun, armed with the op, as they have the double op set up on the CT side now. Unfortunately, I don't think really E-frag were considering that in their playbook here, so as they work their way back down to it, they're going to have to adjust the way they play for this B site here, as Dreamer does find the trade kill over there on the Zipniks. Now the rest of the members of TSM, though, XTSM this is, are trying to figure out exactly how Dreamer's going to play, because Dreamer never really committed to the site, and Spy Leader actually working his way over towards A is going to be able to pick up an opener here for his team once again, as he shuts out Device, drops one of the two ops. Dupree can still very easily take him down in a 1 versus 1, and that's exactly what he's going to find, but a heavy, heavy, heavy cost to his health pool now. Dupree sitting at 5 HP. Dreamer not looking too much better, down at 28, but at the same time, we never actually saw the rotation coming off of that B site fully, and cajunb with the flick going to shut things down here on one of the final rounds of the half. That will put the members of XTSM now very, very close to holding a huge lead on the CT side, and it's going to break E-frag here too, as they go for the Tech 9 investment here. Basically, the only thing they really can confidently afford on this final round. Not going to be looking too great. So we'll have to see just what they can sort of throw at their opponents with this one. It's not actually sort of going away from what they were using in a lot of the previous rounds here. They're not actually going to just go for a full 5-man rush into one of these sites. They actually split it up a little bit more to set themselves up for the default B approach instead, and it's going to be cajunb that watches out for this initially, and he will connect a little bit of damage there too on the Spy Leader, but nothing huge. Victor actually finds an opener coming in through construction. They've got Zipnik's trying to hold back down inside of the canals, but he's going to get flanked out by Bubble, so they take him down. cajunb still doing the work he needs to, though, as he picks up a couple of kills on the re-peek. Not going to be able to find a kill just as of yet, but now Device moving back in, shuts down the player inside of water, looking for Bubble here too as he's hugging that pole, but that's going to be executed. The final two actually go down from that play. Device not only kills Bubble, but Dupree takes down NKL, so it's a great retake that comes out from the members of XTSM. Could have called it okay, because the E-frag got at the plant, but we're at the end of the half, so you need to win that round there, otherwise obviously not really going to be too impactful for yourself and the rest of your team, as everything's going to get reset here on this next round anyway. So again, XTSM, a little bit of trouble, of course, getting themselves established here in the first half. They do start to round up a lead, but almost see E-frag actually tie it up and take the lead back around the 4 to 5 point margin there within the first about 10 rounds. But after that one, again, XTSM do a fantastic job of sort of reestablishing themselves and taking the lead from there. And we see e-frag having all the troubles they do with actually finding appropriate entries. Not just this too, but working against the aggressiveness of XTSM on their CT side was something they really struggled with and were really thrown off for. We constantly saw members of XTSM pressing forward and picking up 1 or 2 kills at the beginning of the round, which always ended up throwing things off, leaving it into 3-on-5 or 3-on-4 situations. And those were just not really workable most of the time for e-frag. So that was oftentimes just the big key, to shut down at least one player. And the members of XTSM had a fairly simple time closing out the rest of the round, but now we go into the second half where the sides have switched. And for XTSM on that T side, working 2 players up here towards the long A approach, and we do see there too that it's going to be Device getting some really good damage onto Spy Leader at the beginning of the round. In fact, brings him down to 14 HP. The rest of the guys now pushing into the site too. They're trying to find Spy Leader, not going to be able to take him down just as of yet. And Victor trying to hold this position by Semi, but he can't find anything. NKL and Victor both go down. They're the only ones in the site right now. You have Spy Leader here, but he has to be cautious about this because he's only at 14 HP, and he's currently the only player in close proximity to this site. Bubble attempts to work a flank, but Zipnik's watching out for exactly that type of play, and the rest of this is just going to be such a brutal setup right here. Spy Leader doing a little bit of work as he rounds himself out, picks up 2 kills with that 14 HP. Device did take down his teammate Dreamer. He's trying to close this one out, but finally Cajun B is going to be able to take him down before any further damage can be done. It's getting a little bit shaky there for a moment, but they do manage to recover things back into their favor. And again, the opening round of this half will go towards the guys over here on Team Question Mark. And we'll see the immediate investments coming in here from the side of XTSM. It's the usual split with 3 rifles, 3 AKs actually. And we also see the 2 SMGs coming in here as well. Bubble picking up 1 kill to sort of surprise things at the beginning, but that's really all they're going to grab, as e-frag tried to get aggressive, and obviously that is going to ultimately fail. I don't think we really had too big of an investment coming in from e-frag that time, though. They basically just take it light with a couple of upgrades here and there, and then just push into their opponent's area. So we're going to see this time pretty much the same exact thing with P250s and Deagles being brought into the play. But with a round shut down like that, I obviously don't think we'll see the same strategy attempted by e-frag, trying to push short A and then just kind of getting wiped to the floor. Probably just going to prompt a more normal setup on the CT side this time, and that's exactly what we'll have here. They do boost 1 player up, and Dupree could get caught off guard by this. In fact, he's going to get hit by the Deagle, but the response comes out from Dupree, and that's going to be a nice headshot that shuts out Spy Leader before he can do any further damage to these guys. But now they're going to spot the play coming. They don't actually rotate in just as of yet, because they don't have full confirmation, but they definitely should have done that just off of pure intuition alone. That's going to cost them big time now as Kerrigan rolls in, picking up 2 more kills. Victor's sitting just around that corner, but lining it up is going to be Device. Shutting out Victor, just Bubble now left alive, who is actually going to be watching out for aggression, as XTSM have made very fast work of what has been going on over here on this T side. And they're going to get themselves off to a very good start here too. This will lead into e-frag's first gun round, but unfortunately for these guys, they're not really going to have a whole lot being brought into that first gun round on the CT side, because they're missing really any semblance of, like, they didn't really get even that many kills too. Like, let's take a look at this. How many kills did they get? They get 3 on the pistol round, 1 on the second round, and none on this round. So a total of 4 kills being scored in the first 3 rounds here is not going to leave e-frag with a lot of extra bonus cash at all. We can see the investment coming in, but we're missing a lot of mollies, HE. We're missing a lot of, like, mollies and HE grenades. We've got an okay amount of HEs actually now that I look at it again, but just overall, in terms of really big utility amounts, like such as mollies, they're not really going to have a whole lot of that. In fact, the only one that they've had has already been used and has now been disposed of as they smoke things back off there. That holds off any initial attempt at a big push into the B site, but there really wasn't going to be that to begin with. So that sort of utility usage has now gone down the drain, and e-frag are not going to have that at all here for later on in the round. Also for retakes too, that could be really useful, but they're using a lot of this very early on in the round, and that keeps it away from themselves as we go later and later on into the game here. And it allows XTSM to have that much more of an engagement advantage when they actually do go into the site. You can obviously see they're just taking this very slow right now. They actually want to try to bait out a lot of this utility, hopefully even using the flashbangs and whatnot too, so that they have an easier time upon entry. And it's worked. Just look at what's been used from the side of e-frag. Everybody's out of flashes now except for Spy Leader. All the smokes have been used. And there's only 2 HEs left as well on both NKL and Spy Leader. So wherever XTSM choose to go, they're not really going to be resisted all that well when they actually push into the site. And now that's a perfect setup from a teammate there to pretty easily able to take down Dreamer on the way. And they shut out NKL here too. Molly's going to hold them back for a little bit, but it's a phase at the perfect time. And now as they press their way in, the plant's already going to be happening. Spy Leader, as he tries to line up a kill, they're almost being able to take down Zipnik's, and it's going to be Bubble that finishes the job onto these players. That nade going to come in, doesn't actually connect all that much damage because it veers to the left a little bit, but the damage that's done is going to be enough to pull the members of e-frag back. Victor falling away for a save. Bubble going to do the same thing anything right now. Victor actually being a little bit more cautious because of the positioning from Device, and he actually does not want to go outside of the bank because that's going to be where Device is waiting for him. So he sits inside for now. But we can see Device is getting a little bit hungry for the kills, looking for the lineup. He can spot the head, but Victor doesn't think he's been spotted, so he's a little bit slow in the reaction, still able to pick up the kill. And we can see KGB moving in here too to try to take these players down. If Victor comes outside, he could be a dead man, but he's going to be safe about it. Sticks inside the bank. And that'll keep both of those rifles in play as we head into round number 20 here. E-frag, though, cannot lose this round at all. We're probably going to see a forced investment this time because they really don't have a choice. They cannot let their opponents get to 15 points, as that's going to be 10 rounds in a row needed perfectly for them just to take it into overtime here. If they don't win out here, it's going to be all over, and more than likely XTSM can close things out. This is going to be that last real chance for E-frag, as unfortunately with the big advantage taken by XTSM in the first half, and so far them being completely unchallenged now in the second half, it just leaves them with a completely flawless record here so far, and E-frag are sort of left in the dust with not enough score to try and get them, or not enough rounds, I should say, to get themselves really back into this game in time. And Device actually watching out for aggression this time. He's going to be able to catch Victor at the opening bits of this round. Victor, far about it, he falls away. He does have support from Bubble nearby, but they're not even going to use it. He's just sitting up in party, and he's going to wait for his opponents to get into a position to push over towards long A. He might find one player, which would be Device, but not looking likely right now, and he's actually off angle for it. That Spy Leader, thankfully, in a better position, I believe, inside of Connector, is going to be in a spot to be able to pick up a kill over on towards Dupree. But that so far is the only thing that E-frag have had for themselves. And Bubble, finally, patience pays off for him as he drops not just one player, but he drops the bomb carrier too. So they know where it is positioned. But he has to stay alive for a little bit longer here and actually keep that bomb on the ground itself. Looking for more. Not going to be counting on Device necessarily to be inside the bathroom connector, but he actually wins this battle too. So E-frag are not out of this one just as of yet. Zipnik's trying to turn things back around as he's going to be able to pick up a kill back over here inside of the water area by knocking out one of these guys, but the real player which he has to find is NKL sitting back down over here towards Monster, smoking out now towards CT and trying to fake it out as he's going into the site, but now he's lost his only other teammate, which is going to be Cajun B. Spy Leader pressing inside of that bathroom connector, finds him out there, knocks him out cold, and now to Zipnik's. No flashes to find his way inside of there, and only 7 seconds left on the clock. He has to fall away and look for a save now, as this round is going to go by the way of E-frag. Far too aggressive for XTSM to find out against there. We saw too many kills going their way, and it just turned the round in the opposite direction far too quickly. The members of XTSM to turn it around there. It was a great opening by them, but some great positioning by Bubble. And again, I did call that somewhat greedy, where I was actually turned out to be completely wrong with that. So because he sits himself in party, I think XTSM were counting on if there was going to be anyone supporting from party, he would have come out to try and stop those guys when they actually got into that first engagement versus Victor. But he doesn't. He sticks around, and you don't really suspect anything at all to be coming out from party. So he's left to his own devices there, shuts out pretty much everybody on the team. Well, only shuts out a couple players, but he drops the bomb, and again, that really screws up the rest of the rotations, and him combined with the rest of his team, I should say, do a really good job of basically stopping any more forward pressure from coming in. But this time around, it's going to be a lot more aggressive from the side of XTSM, moving in, finding so many kills here. Spyler going to be completely blind, so he's not able to pick up anything from that pit position. Bubble does come back in from CT main, though, and is able to grab another kill, but we're going to see more grenades coming in, and Cajun B lighting him up, finishing off one through the plywood and catching the other one with the molly there. Lights up Bubble. And now we see XTSM getting themselves right back into the swing of things here. They're now going to be sitting up at match point, and for the members of E-frag, again, not really a whole lot of cash here, and KL will force up with a FAMAS. But the rest of these players are on CZs and or 5.7s at their biggest buy possible, with not really a whole lot to stop this either. So at least two of these guys are going to head down inside of Connector, trying to get aggressive about this and trying to stop any forward movement coming out from the members of XTSM, and it works at the beginning of the round. Spy Leader going to be able to drop at least one of these players, but there's a big four-man group up here. Technically three-man now as they start to fall away from it a little bit. Mistakenly, as Spy Leader again is going to be given a second chance to find a kill, and he takes it beautifully there, just waiting for more players to jump down that ladder area. He's going to finish off one. Victor is now going to join it as well. Sees there's quite a few kills to be had down here, but this pop flash perfect on a Spy Leader, and Dupree getting the intel that they're still sitting down here. They're still challenging it. Dupree messing up that second flash, but he may just jump down for it anyway. Going down, looking for the first kill, finding it, and not going to grab the second kill as Victor thankfully has the rifle to take him out. So it's traded out, but then there's Kerrigan working with the op, picking up another one of these CTs that tries to hold on to the B side. It's technically cleared out right now. They can waltz right in, but they're going to be careful of those players that were positioned inside of Connector. They'll smoke that back off, And now he's calling for that bomb to come back in so they can get the plant. Kerrigan now actually going to get very aggressive about this too, pushing up, trying to take down the final 2 players back over towards CT main. Missing that first shot, falling back, switching over to the pistol, basically finishing one of these guys off. He's going to die to that nade, and oh, the double! Takes out Bubble and NKL with this one. Now it's just Victor working his way back in. Both Zipnix and Kerrigan are very low, but that doesn't matter as Kerrigan's going to shut it down with the op shot, and that's going to close out map number 1, guys. 16-6 is going to be the final score over here on Overpass, and that will give a 1-0 lead to the guys on XTSM. Map number 2 on Cash is coming up in just a few moments, so stick around for more of the StarSeries